You're tuned to Pregnancy, Birth and Beyond. Contemporary conversations where stories, science, traditions and new ideas meet. Our show is coming to you from the studios of Bay FM in Byron Bay and is broadcasting across Australia on the Community Radio Network. You're with Annalia Tia. Welcome to Part 2 of this special feature, The Changing Face of Medicine, Medicine Emerging. Our Australian healthcare system is considered to be one of the best in the world. It came shy just after the UK, second best. Countries that provide their citizens with universal healthcare, not surprisingly, sit at the top of the list. The USA, with its failing and ailing system, came at the 11th hour, just making it. Our Aussie system offers generally really good healthcare to all Australians. That being said, there are a few factors that hinder our wonderful healthcare system. 1 in 10 Australians cannot access healthcare due to cost. That will inevitably translate into even more people not accessing all available subsidised and otherwise healthcare services. This is hard to imagine, but 1 in 10 means 10% of Australians. For chronic diseases, conditions that develop over time, we are only eligible for disease management rebates. The healthcare system is set up in a way that allows very little preemptive intervention. Since chronic diseases are mostly attributed to lifestyle and environmental factors, this means that there are little to no protocols set up in the system to ensure people don't get sick in the first place. Yes, we have some preventive elements slowly being patched in, but these are often based in the disease management paradigm. Another important factor in preempting disease is the relationship between primary carer and consumer and the quality of continuity of care exchanged. This is another aspect that our system can sometimes hinder, with short appointment times and an active discouragement of an investigative style approach. We are most likely not getting the most up-to-date evidence-based medicine available. This is another concern. Very little money is spent on dissemination of research compared to the money spent on the research itself. If and when research does finally reach the institutions and practitioners, it still lingers until fully implemented. Practitioners and investigators have long known that it takes years of medical research findings to translate into practices, with some estimating an average of 17 years for the translation into medical care. Follow the link on our website to Wiley Online Library for the full report, Dissemination and Implementation Research in Emergency Medicine. And finally, being considered one of the best in the world is awesome, but it only guarantees a comparative best, not an ultimate best.
Consumers want to feel heard. They want to have a dialogue with someone who cares about them. They want to have dialogues with people with the technical knowledge who are then able to offer what's available in the system. They want to be able to really talk things through and then to have their wishes respected. Even if those wishes conflict with what that carer may prefer them to do. So this is the sort of thing, this understanding and appreciation on both sides develops in that relationship, and much higher levels of satisfaction occur for not only the woman but also for her carer. And we want these people to enjoy their work. I see so much dissatisfaction and more than that, anxiety and deep depression and suicide rates amongst clinicians across all health areas of health are terrifying. It's terrible. And it's supposed to be a meaningful, incredible relationship. But the current system isn't allowing for that.
That was Sally Cusack. Sally's been an active health consumer representative in her local health district for over 8 years. We'll hear now from Dr. Tom Rowley, who runs a successful GP practice at a medical centre in rural northern New South Wales. You're married, you've got 3 kids?
Yeah, married, 3 kids. I have a house here. Very lucky, very, very fortunate. Love living here. It's an incredible place.
Yeah.
The target is 15 minutes. And
who sets that target? Is that your target or?
That's essentially dictated by Medicare in a way. Medicare has time frames where they rebate for a certain amount. I imagine most practices are set up like this. I have heard of other practices that are just on a strict, well, my rate is blah, 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 $250 an hour. If you take 21 minutes, then you get 21 divided by 60 times that amount. And then whatever they get back from Medicare is what they get back. But a lot of other practices are 15 minutes because that's the common standard. You can get through most stuff in that time, but it depends on, but Medicare does have a role in that for sure. Yeah. If I have too many 30-minute consults, then my day gets behind, and that is not much fun. One of the benefits for general practice is to actually continue to have a relationship over a period of time and explore family history or what's going on at home, how's the kids, how's money, all of these different aspects that probably don't come in for a specialist, I imagine. I don't know, maybe some are, but I feel like as that period of time, so it's not just 15 minutes, it's the evolving nature of that relationship that I feel is the real benefit of general practice. But yeah, it's really cool. So there's interesting things that I have tried to develop for the longevity in the practice, because it is GPs who can get burnt out and definitely suffer from compassion fatigue, or there's quite a lot of things that can go on that if I haven't developed a good way of dealing with those, then they could upset my life. Or am I bringing my family? I've got a challenge in my family and my kid's not sleeping, and what's that mean for work and all of these things. But so trying to have a well-rounded life actually is really important for me.
Globally, it feels like medicine is finally emerging from the stupor of teenagehood. What with reckless behavior in its past, performing lobotomies on women in the 50s, and a newfound awareness of the consequences of its actions in the present. Handing out antibiotics like they were candy, that's all over. Medicine is finally growing up. But just like any evolving young adult, where the frontal cortex may be finally finished its long-awaited construction, it will take years of practical actual practice and varied degrees of success, depending on the environment and previously acquired conditioning, to determine which of these teenagers will end up on top of their game and which will be fumbling in the dark. Those that seek and receive support and implement change systemically with a clear plan will be more likely to survive than their counterparts. As mentioned by James Maskell in Part 1 of the special feature, the US is a fertile ground for change in medicine, specifically because how messy the system is. Aussie practitioners and consumers are less likely to want to make hefty changes, and this is mostly due to the ease of access to services and comfortability of the system. In the Harvard Business Review covered value-based care back in 2013. Vaccines, anesthesia, penicillin, bypass surgery, decoding the human genome. Unquestionably, all are life-saving medical breakthroughs. But one breakthrough that will change the face of medicine is being slowed by criticism, misunderstanding, and a reluctance to do things differently. That breakthrough is value-based care.
I can make diseases disappear. To be more precise, I can make chronic diseases disappear. You see, chronic diseases are the long-term conditions like type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, depression, or even dementia. And there's 15 million people in England who have already been diagnosed with a chronic condition. So that means looking out amongst you now, there's probably about 250 people in here who have one of these long-term conditions. Just one of these alone, type 2 diabetes, is costing the UK £20 billion every single year. And I'm standing here before you saying, I can make these diseases disappear. See, I'm not a magician. I'm what the Americans call an MD. That's not a magical doctor. That's a medical doctor, or what I call a mere doctor. You see, the reason I can make diseases disappear is because diseases are just an illusion. Diseases are not real. In fact, diseases don't really exist.
That was Dr. Rangoon Chatterjee, an excerpt taken from his TEDx Liverpool talk. Sounds pretty wild what he's claiming. But not only has his talk been listened to over 600,000 times, BBC UK is already in its second series following Dr. Chatterjee around, seeing how his approach to healthcare is changing the lives of his patients. Using functional medicine style interventions first, he's spending a considerable time investigating the upstream causes of disease before deciding on a course of action. Another place people get information about health and healthcare is from the media. As you will hear next, an excerpt from the Evolution of Primary Care panel from May 2017, Pilar Gerasimo discusses the impact of the media in informing and misinforming the public on healthcare and medicine, leading to further confusion for the consumer.
Pilar, just one question when it comes to, so if you had that $250 million and now you're a media planner, where do you see media coming around to this kind of conversation?
Well, I do think that there's a lot of promise in smaller scale media companies producing better and better content. I think because it has become more democratized in general, the media industry understands that some of the most creative and fun and popular media is coming out of, not like mega TV stations, but people making YouTube videos and things like that. And I do think that there's a lot of promise there. I don't know that if you wrote me a $250 million check, I would know exactly how to spend it in this moment. But I would think the first thing I would do is find genuinely passionate people who want to tell these stories and want to do the research and want to deliver customer audience-driven content, as opposed to creating a gigantic machine that's designed to attract more eyeballs so that they can sell more ads and then find sponsors to help make them the next $250 million. I think if we spent $250 million actually educating people on how to get healthy and connecting them with each other in ways that support them in becoming healthy, and address the real obstacles in our culture of becoming a healthy person in the midst of 97.5% of people not practicing basic healthy habits, that would be where I would start. So I think it's the way we're all spending our time and money now, probably a lot of the people in this room. But I think, people who are benefactors of that kind of work, including people like Penny, who've been amazing advocates for taking a shot on really hard-working, passionate individuals who want to change the world. We need more people doing that. And I mean, as sad as it is to see, I think, primary care doctors leaving the existing system, there's always some small part of me that says, you know what? Good. The system isn't going to succeed the way it's going. So it's better to see people coming out while they still have a shred of passion and hope and compassion in them and deciding to blend themselves together with other people who want to do that work.
Beautiful. And it's not by accident that we have a naturopathic doctor, physician, journalist, and chiropractor here, because, we see that if you were to add up all the functional MDs, the naturopaths, and the chiropractors together, we're getting close to that 100,000 micro practices. That's really the goal of the evolution of medicine.
A lot of the reason that we started Experience Life was that I didn't feel that there was any good content coming out in the mass media really addressing the root causes of people's health issues or addressing their real life priorities. And there is a reason for that. The entire media industry is really set up to serve advertisers and publishers, not readers. So, the things that you think you're interested in getting, resolution to your problems, help with your daily struggles, it's really not in most publishers' best interest to actually help you solve those problems. It's in their best interest to keep you having those problems and suggesting ads with products that will promise solutions to those problems. So